if the society you live in does not allow you or influence the change you want to see?
A very apt question anyway. You see, there is a persistent battle, an unending war between truth and falsehood. Well, this is the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Al-Rum, verse number 20, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَقِمْ وَجْهَكَ لِلدِّينِ حَنِيفٍ ذَلِكَ فِطْرَةُ اللَّهِ فأقم وجهك للدين حنيفا فطرة الله التي فطر الناس عليها ولا تبديل لسنة الله ذلك دين القيم ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. You see, there is a persistent, continuous battle between evil and righteousness. So it's the sunnah. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of his encompassing and omniscient wisdom, he created hell and Jannah. Because without the existence of evil embodied in Iblis, we will not be tempted to live, to go against the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So obviously the challenge, a Muslim, as a Muslim from an Islamic perspective, that's why I mentioned something like the hostility that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam confronted at the initial stage of the propagation of the message of Islam in Mecca. So use Muhammad, that very reality, because it's universal, Mecca. Use that model as an example, a role model, and what he applied in confronting and overcoming the obstacles, then you can even apply it again and it will be successful. Society is always resistance and righteousness is always few in number, but it's very, very big in quality. So whenever you stand and represent change, and then change is transformation to the positive, obviously the vested group, the clique, who are in control of the evil, the evil movement in society, they will try to mobilize all their physical, material, every force at their disposal to confront you with their power. So for that matter, if you are in a society, in time and space, and that society is impervious, resistance, and is not accommodating, but not even impacting or interacting with what you want them to be, well, you take the Quran as a guide. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. You are sent to just give to people, but to guide them is others. Don't just make yourself a watchman over their soul. You are not a spiritual watchman, but you are simply a human propagator. Just give them what they want, and the rest, and leave it with the hands of Allah. Because all the time, a tree, before you plant a tree, germination, it is only one seed, isn't it? And that seed, grows into a tree, the trunk, the branches. Out of one seed, you have millions of oranges. So righteousness is always few, but the confrontational forces of evil is always powerful, but evil is always there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَجَاءَ الْحَقُّ وَزَحَقَ الْبَاطِلِ إِنَّ الْبَاطِلَ كَانَ الزَّهُوقَ. Truth has already come and it is established, but evil is going to be completely demolished, because it is something that is already ordained to be demolished.
Thank you very much. In your speech, you mentioned that if you want to change something, you need a substitution. What is going to be the substitution of someone taking alcohol and becoming drunk?
Well, for a drunkard, somebody, a Muslim, it's not even nice. It's not even nice. You can't defend that. It is untenable. A Muslim and a drunkard. It's untenable. But it's something that is there. It's reality. You see, doctors said it rightly. If you just want to cover the rays of the sun with what is called sinsima. Sinsima in English is what? Huh? Basket. You want to cover the rays of the sun with a basket. Is it possible? It's not possible. So there are certain ills, there are certain, deviations, tendencies that are evil, that are bad. That is not, it is not a monopoly. It's everywhere in the world. But the problem is, associating or identifying a Muslim, it is not hypothetical, it's real. Because the number of drunkards in the Gambia is on the rise. That's why before, in fact, I mean, to just go back to what my brother said, there was a time in the Gambia, that was in the early 60s and 70s, if a graduate arrived from Europe, America, or England, you know, he would just go and rent a house in Fajara, isolated himself completely. We call him the Fajanga Bedoff. He was never Janga to a bath, never Janga Bedoff. They were drinking alcohol in secrecy. They were completely people alienated from their realities. You're not Gambian, you're not American, and you say you're educated. You were just taught. You were just, I mean, bombarded with information. So this is the problem. So you know, information, the Angale doesn't have S. There's no plural for information, isn't it? You say information. It's a generic noun, I believe, huh? Okay. So for that matter, that Muslim guy who is a drunkard, the substitute for him, use the Quran. Every day, make it a duty upon yourself. The Quran, in fact, the most, how I would describe it, I mean, the community that was so much submerged in alcohol intake in the history of mankind was the Arabs. Mecca was one of the most evil society in terms of, because people live in the desert, or what we call warring people, people who have a desire to kill, people who have the tendency to be warring every time. They have that inclination to be drinking so much alcohol so that they will lose their consciousness. They will just be hitting each other with cutlasses, but they will not be feeling the pain. That's why in the Gambian history, an example is here. I think you hear about the Nyancho, the Sanya and the Mani. They were Nyancho, they were just drinking and killing each other. They never even constructed a single house. They were just killing each other. So historically, people who are drunkards, they are warmongering people. And that is established by the Quran. Zulqarnaini, when he went to the last point of his journey, that's where the Gog and the Magog were. Inna ya'ajuja wa ma'ajuju mufsiduna fil ard. In fact, it's the same thing, a repetition of history. But people are completely blind to the realities of the Quran. You know, Zulqarnaini went to the east. I must use this opportunity to explain this for political science students. You know, Kim Jong-un in Korea is now on the battlefield with the Americans, isn't it? Zulqarnaini went to the west, and he found the sun was descending oil in a murky water. The murkiest people in the world are the Americans. They are everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Everywhere and nowhere at the same time. But when you go to the east, these are the most warring people in the world. So now the Quran tells you that Yajuj wa Majuj, they emerge from the east, isn't it? Now we are watching developments in the world internationally. Trouble is brewing up in the west, in the east. So the Quranic predictions, this is prophetic. Take care of political students. The world is moving into a bipolar, not a tripolar. So the Asians and the Americans and the West, we are in between. We are nowhere. We are just here. We are here, but we are not present. We are here, but we are not present. When people went to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, according to the well-known proverb, the Tubab and the Arab, the Tubab say, I want knowledge. The Arab say, I want kodo, for money. The Africans say, they asked him, he said what? Huh? No, he didn't say that. That is another promotion for him. He said, I don't know what they are here for. So, but you remove that mentality. That's why I quote the verse. Bani Israel, that's the mentality you need to kill. That's the devil, that's why we cannot change. Inferiority complex. Remove it and change will come positively. So that's why a Muslim, you take a duty upon yourself to take the Quranic psychiatric treatment. Go to him. Keep preaching him. Tell him the advantage and the disadvantage of alcohol. Tell him, okay, if you cannot stop it now, drink it. But make sure that you accompany him every time to the mosque. Go with him. The time you are going to the mosque, tell him don't drink when we are going to the mosque. 5 times a day, if he abstains from drinking, After 1 week, 2 weeks, he will abstain completely. This is the Quranic psychiatric treatment of a drunkard people. Preaching him will not suffice. Use the treatment the Quran provided in removing people from that habit of drinking, and use that as a method. You will cure him and he will never go back to alcohol drink.
Thank you very much. Can you shed more light on what you talked on when you were speaking? That is, think for yourself and do not depend on scholars.
Well, actually, I didn't say you don't need to depend on scholars, because life in principle is dependence and interdependence. You cannot be isolated. You cannot be an island on your own. So in fact, knowledge is a continuation. It's sequential. Knowledge is from the predecessors right coming. It's moving. It is not stagnant. The Muslims, why they are backward? Scientifically, technologically, sometimes even ethically. Well, morally, at least, we still have remnants of good morals. We are better than them. But that one is even threatening. It is not very much. It is on flimsy ground. It is not very much protected, because it is a dominant. There is a battle of cultures, and the dominant culture is overcoming everybody now. It is overwhelming. So that's why we are not psychologically and ethically prepared to confront the dominant culture. And that culture is called the Freemasons' material capitalistic culture. That is, gradual and powerfully. It is using every means at its disposal to make sure that it is the dominant, even the way you think they want to control it. So for that matter, it is interesting at this juncture. Sorry, what was the question? Yeah, think for yourself. When I say think for yourself, you don't rely on scholars. No, I don't mean you have to rely on somebody. Because we went to school, they taught us. But what happened is you must be somebody who is critical and analytical in your thinking. Whatever you are given, never accept it wholesale. Never eat a hamburger that you have not bought from a hamburger shop. Because it might be a meat or a pork or any other thing. Open the hamburger, see what is there before you eat it. So whatever is given to you, be critical. Never transmit it like that. You should be very critical. What is good, you take it. What is bad, you just forget it. But our problem is we just transmit everything wholesale. That's why we are in the same circle, a vicious circle, a U-turn. From where we start, we are going moving back towards the same place.
Thank you very much. For the interest of time.
Let me just give the last word. Huh? Yeah, okay. I want to use this opportunity. Well, today being what, on the 9th, I think Doctor asked about the date. The importance of this Friday, one. Number two is the 9th of Zul, for Ashura is tomorrow, isn't it? So Rasulullah, according to an authentic hadith, says if he had leave, he would fast the 9th and the 10th. But what is the significance and the meaning of Ashura? I want somebody to answer me. We shouldn't waste time. Because in the Gambia, the controversy is blowing up so much. I want to share my thoughts with you. What is the meaning and the essence and the importance of Ashura? According to the narration, Rasulullah asked the Jews, why are you keeping fast on this day? What did they tell him? Because it was the day that Pharaoh was destroyed. We were liberated, isn't it? So what does Yomul Ashura means to the Muslim consciousness in the Gambia? Please. For me, I understand Ashura to mean what? A Thanksgiving Day 1. A day of mental, physical, spiritual liberation from all shackles, from all barnacles, from all concepts, from all procedures of hypnotism. Be independent like the Quran, like the Sunnah, like the companions of Muhammad. Be a model. When you are a model, you effect change. When you effect change, Allah will subhanahu wa ta'ala help everybody. Allah says this deen is here to stay and Islam is the truth. Allah says in the Quran, وَإِلَى اللَّهِ تَسِيرُ الْأُمُورِ. Everything is moving, indicating that Allah is the truth. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.